Λοιπόν, είμαστε εδώ στο podcast του myathlete και αυτό είναι ένα εσωτερικό podcast, γιατί θα μιλήσουμε με την head του My Nutrition, την Katy Taveira, και για να σας το κάνουμε και λίγο πιο challenging θα μιλήσουμε στα αγγλικά. Θα είναι challenging για δύο λόγους. Πρώτον, γιατί θα πρέπει να καταλαβαίνετε την ξένη γλώσσα, που μάλλον όμως όλοι την καταλαβαίνουμε, και δεύτερον, να καταλαβαίνετε εμένα, γιατί κάτι είναι η μητρική της, οπότε θα τα πει σίγουρα καλύτερα. Εγώ θα προσπαθήσω να ακολουθήσω. The main reason that we want to start discussing things about nutrition with you, Katy, is to communicate the philosophy beside myathlete in terms of nutrition. What I was always, I think always was fascinating at myathlete is that there are not a lot of don'ts. And that also we don't have the correct answer. There is something like no correct answer. Can you expand a bit on this?
I'll try to be very simple because this can be a conversation of 10 hours. So basically what we try to do, what we accomplish, is by creating a nutrition plan for each individual, something extremely personalized and extremely different. So depending on each goal and each person that we have in front of us, we will get to know the person in front of us, and we will be able to create the program, and not only create a program, be able to support this individual throughout the process and make sure that it becomes a way of life. So whether it's to have a race goal, whether it's to lose some kilos, whether it's to gain some muscle mass, whether it's to eat during chemotherapy. It's many, many different goals, and we are able to customize each individual plan for them and to support this process. Because as we know, nutrition is not just about food, it's about psychology. And I can say 80% of everything we do is psychology in nutrition. So by learning the person, by connecting with each individual, we are able to know exactly what is working and what is not working, so we can adjust. Because it's also always about adjusting the process in order to find the ideal program. And what I like to always think of is when you're finished with our program in 3 months or 6 months, however long you need, you won't need a nutritionist anymore. You're going to learn the process and be able to have it as a way of life. So you don't need your nutritionist beside you. But I'm always beside you.
Yes, but now I'm listening to you and I'm thinking that all this thing, I totally agree that psychology plays number one role in the way you transform psychology to nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am a bit concerned is I think in order to understand really what suits you, you have to be concentrated. You have to be an observer. You have to, in a way, take notes about anything. And I don't know, from your experience, do you think that today's people are concentrated in general?
There are a lot of people that are concentrated. And I like this particular word is focus. Focus and discipline. Focus and discipline is actually very enlightening and very powerful. It's not something bad. It's something wonderful. And I think that, for example, when I do give a nutrition program, I do ask every person to write down what they're eating each day and their training and how they feel and how they're sleeping. And it's not so I can look at it and say, oh, you did this wrong and you did this wrong. It's actually a way of self-awareness. So we can understand, not every day, but in a week, to look at exactly what we did in the week and say, okay, this is what I did every day. I felt this way when I did this, this, this. And when I did this, B, I didn't feel very good. So, okay, we might do that again, whatever it was. However, there's an awareness to, I did this and I felt this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times, you might stop doing that. Or you might start saying, I felt so good when I was doing this. So it's an awareness. So by writing down, it's a big strategy of what we do, writing down, the journaling. It's so important because this is what keeps us focused and disciplined. And we don't have to do this forever, just a few times, just so we can start getting an awareness. And soon it's going to become a way of life and a habit. So what I meant when I said I felt this way, for example, someone that might eat dairy that might get gastrointestinal upset. They might like very much the ice cream, but every time they eat ice cream, they might get an upset stomach. They eat it one time and then they write afterwards, I felt very sick afterwards. I didn't feel good. But the next day they ate it again and then I felt sick again. At a certain point, you stop doing it. It might sound funny, but it happens. It happens.
Yes, I think that in some earlier eras, this could be a process that a person had in its repertoire. But now it's a little bit lost because they have so many distractions during the day.
Distractions, yes.
And also, here comes the psychology. You are eating the ice cream because the flavor is very rewarding, but at the same time, you ignore the other part. But you said a word that I want to point out, the word discipline. And I'm wondering, perhaps it's a heavy word, isn't a heavy word. I mean, we live lives in which we have to perform all the time. And I think the biggest problem that our goals in terms of nutrition is that we there also try to excel, to be the perfect that we can be. Isn't this a big problem? And how often people quit their programs for that?
Firstly, the word discipline can be heavy, but I like to think of it as more laid back word, because discipline is, for example, for myself personally, I train 5 times a week. I also am a single mom. I have 2 kids. I'm also studying. I'm continuing my degree and I have a full-time job and I have external jobs that I do. For me, being able to get on the treadmill at 6:30 in the morning and doing my training before I start my day, it is discipline, but it's liberating for me. And if I don't do it, I don't feel good afterwards. So it is discipline, but for me, it's joy. For me, it's
Perhaps
joy.
also it started as a discipline. It started as a burden.
Yes.
But, there is a saying that after 3 weeks of consistent doing something, you apply a habit.
Yes.
So perhaps it was a burden to begin with, but you have to stop seeing that side of your program in nutrition and you have to start observing that you're feeling better.
Yeah. You know what, George? A lot of people, when they start nutrition, they're very excited. They want to start. They want to change everything. They want to start everything and lose weight and get muscle mass, and they want to do everything different immediately. This is complete opposite of what we do, because what we try to do is we start the program, we learn what you do right now in the program, right now in your day-to-day, and we keep what you do in the day-to-day, but we start changing small things. So slowly, you're still keeping your habits. For example, I love to eat yogurt and berries in the morning, or I love to have the toast with the egg or whatever. We will keep that in your program, but we will add other things that are new so that not everything is very new. So your habits are still what you used to do, but we start to implement small little changes. This way, you don't feel the need to quit very quickly. Because unfortunately, the point of stopping is usually after about 3 weeks, because it gets hard. And when stress comes and when holidays come and birthdays and holidays and sickness as well, you might get a cold or something. Immediately you start doing what you did before. So if half of what you did before is in the new nutrition program, you're not going to stop. You're going to continue. But what we want to do is to have a conversation every week. How are you doing? Are you not okay? What's wrong? How can we make it better? Don't worry about what has been done. Let's see what we can do better for the next week. So by having that support, you know that you're not alone, and that even if you had 2 bad days, it's okay. We are going to have another good day tomorrow. So there's no regret ever. We just keep on moving forward. And I think that helps, because people do stop. And I'm going to say something. I think on my side, it is very relevant for what I see. A lot of women, for example, if there's a household with a wife and a husband and children, for example, and if, for example, the children get sick, the first one to stop the nutrition, the training is the wife, is the woman. This is what I see. I'm not saying about everybody, but usually the first one to stop is the woman. The man usually continues his training, his nutrition, and so forth. Not all cases. I'm talking very general. And the woman usually says, I have to take care of my family. I cannot go to the gym and my kids are homesick. So this usually is always something that we hear very common. Something happened, I stop. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to adjust for 2-3 days until everybody gets back to normal. It's very hard for persons to face challenges and to know how to overpass them. So this is what we're trying to help as nutritionist psychologists. So when these barriers come in front of us, a cold, the car getting smashed, something happening at work, instead of saying, I'm going to stop, it's saying, oh, let's stop for 1 second, let's reevaluate, and let's move forward. So this is what we try to do because it's easy to stop. And nutrition is the first thing that people stop.
It's the first thing that they stop. It's the first thing that the guilty pleasures, it's something that I'm facing a hard time and I'm rewarding myself by giving in something that's forbidden. I think the biggest solution is to understand that what happened. The thing, every day is a new day. It can be a new start, or you can continue being on track again. You know, it's a society full of trends and accusations and challenges and scores and things like that, which is what takes us to a number of trends at the moment. I mean, we are hearing all the time about the significant proteins in our diet. In a way, carbs are starting to feel guilty for every bad thing that happens to us. But is it this way?
Look, George, it's very simple. Nutrition is very simple. And I believe, and we believe that it should be simple. There's a lot of trends happening in the world. However, science says one thing. We need a healthy, balanced nutrition in order for us to thrive, no matter what our goals are. Carbs are not the enemy. Carbs are not the enemy. And there's many sources of carbs. If someone cannot eat pasta, you can eat sweet potato, you can have berries. There's many different things. However, to exclude something from your nutrition, unless there's a health reason for it, it's not balanced. It's not at balance. So what we try to do is follow science. For example, the Mediterranean diet, if there's no other health reason, is the number one diet, the number one nutrition way of life. So what we like to say is in every plate, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, we have to think of our meals like so. Half of the plate with color, fruits, vegetables, everything with color, antioxidants. We want the vitamins. The other quarter of the plate with a source of carbohydrates, whatever you like it. It could be oats, it could be pasta, rice, potato, banana, honey, bread, so many. And then the other quarter is protein. And protein can be yogurt, can be animal source, it can be lentils, so many sources as well. And always a healthy fat. So avocado, olive oil, some nuts, peanut butter. Again, this is a healthy meal. Now, protein, only protein, which I think that it becomes a trend because when we talk about protein, we talk about muscle recovery, we talk about muscle building, which is very, very important. And as someone gets older, especially women that are 40 years old and over, we do need to focus more on protein, definitely. However, we need to also make sure that we're measuring our protein. For example, I don't know if I'm going to say it very simply. When we're talking about protein, the standards are 0.8 grams per kilo, which is very little. But this is the recommended standard. Now, I wouldn't give 0.8 grams per kilo for an athlete, for example, or someone that's very active. We can go towards 2 grams per kilo. But this is the max, 2.2. We wouldn't go over that because afterwards, if you start going over abundance on protein, you start getting other challenges. For example, your kidney health. And this I've seen actively in my practice. Young adults that have been overdoing it with the protein from a very, very young age have almost kidney failure. So we have to be very, very careful with the protein.
And another trend we hear a lot these days is creatine.
Yes. Creatine is fantastic. And creatine, the research that we have now allows us to put it in our daily nutrition. Think of creatine as an extra battery in your body. As women get older, the creatine levels drop. That's why we recommend creatine for women over 40. But every single person can benefit from creatine. But we have to, for example, with creatine, what it does is basically gives us extra energy, extra strength. It helps us more when we're strength training, for example. And then there's this added bonus of cognitive health. So it removes this brain fog that a lot of people have. It helps us with focus. And the research shows that all of these things help very, very much. Now, again, dosage and the grams that we intake a day is very, very important. So when we're talking about creatine, we need 3 to 5 grams per day. That's it. We don't need 10 or 15 or 20 as we see other sports recommended for this in the past.
Yes.
The 3 to 5 grams per day is sufficient and it will help very, very much. Now, when someone takes creatine, which this is also part of the backdrop that we hear, is you're going to gain weight. Now, the weight gain that you will experience while taking creatine is not body fat. It's actually from water, because the muscle cells actually are absorbing water when you're taking creatine. So that's why when you start taking creatine, it's very, very normal and common to see 1 or 2 kilos going up. This is not a cause for alarm. You drink more water, you keep on going with your focus, with your training and so forth, and it will balance out. It's not body fat, it's water retention. It's the muscle cells grabbing water, extra water, basically.
I have another question that popped out right now. I didn't. I used to say that half of the people in Greece want to be singers, and the other half want to be radio producers. Today, podcasters in a way. But I think that there is also a new trend rising, which is everybody has an opinion on nutrition. And I would like to stand here in the misleading information that exists all around the internet, even in podcasts like the one we do now, but also in forms of celebrity suggestions and magical ingredients that can make you lose 10 kilos in 10 minutes and things like that. Do you face that input from our athletes? Do they think they know things? Do they have gray areas that and things that they tried already that they think they do something to them?
Yes, definitely. I think that in today's age, there's too much information, and from anybody. Anybody can go on a media outlet and say whatever they like, whether it's wrong or right. So we do face this. For example, I saw this. Why aren't we doing this? Why are you giving me so much carbohydrates? Isn't this too much? Or I'm not losing weight fast enough. Why am I not losing weight fast enough? Maybe the program is not working.
I'm getting married in a month.
You know, George, as a quick stop to what we're saying, do you know that even if we're trying to lose a lot of weight, what we aim to lose is about 500 grams of body fat a week. So about 2 kilos a month of body fat is something healthy and attainable. Anything over than that, it's not body fat. It's hydration. It's many different factors. But everybody says many things. For example, something that is very trendy right now, George, and I hear it all the time, is peptides. A lot of people are talking about peptides. And right now, there is no significant research that we can actually
support this opinion.
From what my research and from everything that I see also in America and Canada and so forth, it's not approved yet in order for us to provide this information or provide these prescriptions. So it's something that we're reading about, we're learning about. It's wonderful. It's very great. However, I'm not myself as a clinical dietitian, I'm not confident enough to start
suggesting the usage.
Not even talking about it yet, because it's still very gray, very gray. So whenever someone talks about peptides, I have the sources, I have some podcasts, I have great sources of information. However, it's not safe enough so we can start taking it yet. This is from the science program. However, you do see many influencers that are selling peptides and so forth. So to each their own. Whoever is buying them has to know their risks, that in order for you to start something new, it has to be backed up also by science and by your doctor.
the same thing we discussed before about creatine. Creatine
Yes.
is a very well-studied
Yes.
supplement, and only that kind of supplement would be allowed
Yes.
in use. If you had to suggest an approach
Yes.
to everybody, the people who are listening to us right now, what would you suggest that their approach should be in terms of nutrition? Tell me the 2 basic don'ts, for example, and the 2 basic do's.
Okay, 2 basic don'ts. Number 1, don't feel hungry. There's no need to feel hungry. Even if you want to lose body fat, there's no need to feel hungry. So do not go to bed hungry at night. And number 2 don't remove macronutrients or any nutrients from your nutrition. So don't remove carbs, don't remove fats. This is not causing weight gain. It's you need a balance of everything. Those are my 2 don'ts. My 2 do's are hydrate. Hydrate your body. Your body needs so much water, so much hydration, electrolytes, and so forth. And number 2, it's not about nutrition, but it helps in nutrition, is move your body, exercise, 100%. I think they go so well together. Even someone that is 80 years old, that has never trained before, there's a way that we can safely have them exercise and start training because that together with nutrition is the perfect recipe for health.
I understand that, the biggest... how can I say it? The biggest deception is when you're talking, for example, with me, and I suggest that you should work out, people think that I suggest them to do marathons. But there are a lot of levels. You don't need to do marathons just because you're talking to me that I do marathons. You always
It's your
assume,
hobby.
yes, that the guy who is talking to you and suggesting to you to do something suggests you to do the same thing that he does. But there are different lives, different people, different things that we love.
Yes.
So there are people who enjoy playing football and others that want to run, they want to hike, they want to, walk.
Yes.
And for an 80-year-old, I would recommend him to walk. Walk. It's as simple as that. So you don't have to project yourself to the case that addresses you.
Yes.
You are a person and you have to move your body. People human beings are constructed to move all the time.
Yes.
This could be the standard way.
100%. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So even if you say, I don't have time, it's about finding gaps during your week to say 3 times a week for 20 minutes, I will do this and this and this. And even having a water bottle at home and lifting up the water bottle and doing mobility is going to be very beneficial for you because at the end of the day, also your bones are a living creature. And you need to move your body in order for your bones to continue to grow. And as you get older, your bone density just keeps dropping and dropping. So it's not enough that you're having calcium in your nutrition. You need to move your body and have that impact on your body at every age, especially at 60, 70, 80. However, at 80, you can't start from 0 and just say, let me go. You have to have someone that's beside you that knows what they're doing to safely have them activate certain small activities. But it's so important. It's so important.
Of course. And, by moving, we don't mean you have to be the world champion.
No.
You just have to move.
Yeah, definitely.
We can stop here for now. We would have other meetings to discuss further.
There's so much.
There's so much. The discussion never ends. But thank you for now. And we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, George. Thank you.